Good evening, everybody. This is Cinnamon Noir.
And this is the Ramen Shaman.
Welcome back to Deltarune.
Oh, God.
Oh no, not another one. You remember how difficult the last one was. They didn't attack at all. Oh.
Is he Santa Claus?
Oh. Ho ho ho. Good time of the year for it. Baby Santa Claus. Jim Henson's Santa Claus babies.
Although, I'm kind of surprised they have Santa Claus here.
Oh. More face biting. For some reason, that's always the first thing that occurs to Susie. Oh dear. Oh man, we never saw Lancer's face before, and now we may never get to. It'll be gone. Yep. She's like a mentor to the bad guy.
Okay.
Merry Christmas! Would have been better without the last part, but yeah, he's improving. Isn't that cute?
I like that she actually... Oh well.
Yeah. So, these guys actually are a threat, so Lancer is definitely getting a little bit better. But, since this entire game is pretty easy, it's still not a big deal. So yeah, befriending doesn't really work on these guys. You have to work a little bit harder. Never mind. I was wrong. Actually, did it get all of them at once? I think it might have.
Possibly.
I like this little jigsaw puzzle attack they have. It's kind of clever. Although you can't put real jigsaw puzzles together that way. It doesn't work at all. You can't just bang them into each other from the side.
Yeah.
So one thing about this game that's a little annoying, although I'm sure it's intentionally annoying, is that you can only spare enemies one at a time. Which means even if you get them all into a sort of merciful state, you still have to perform a special action for each one individually. That's one reason why using Pacify with Ralsei may be a little better, because Pacify hits all tired enemies at the same time. So it's quicker. On the other hand, it takes longer to tire the enemies out, so really it's kind of a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Oh look, a puzzle. Oh no. RK? Who on earth is that? It's not Lancer. He doesn't even have a last name as far as I can tell. So Susie's going to work on getting over the fence without, getting hit in the stomach and killed. Yeah. Although we've seen from the Tomb Raider trailer that doesn't kill all video game characters. Sometimes you can just walk it off.
Well, yeah, she's like some kind of long-lost relative to Wolverine.
You can be a box if you want to. You can be a box if you want to. You can leave your friends behind. Actually, in this game, you can't leave your friends behind.
I mean, Metal Gear Solid fans might get it.
Yeah.
Which would be irritating if that wasn't the intention of the costume.
By the way, did you see the World of Light cutscene for Smash Bros. Ultimate when it came out recently?
I don't think so.
You know how Solid Snake is a Smash Bros. Character? Because that's the universe we live in. But in the part at the beginning where all the characters are being destroyed, Snake is just hiding out in his cardboard box on a cliffside where it doesn't blend in at all. And I'm wondering, is that really appropriate for Solid Snake? It seems kind of dumb. Like, he knows to use that box only where to blend in. But then someone on a YouTube comment said something amazing, which is, maybe that's like Snake's equivalent to the fetal position. Like, when he's just completely wigged out, that's how he copes, is by getting in the box. So anyway, here's a weird puzzle. You enter in these card suits, and then you can swap them by pressing the button on the right. This puzzle we actually don't have the solution to yet. This is an entirely optional area. that is involved with a side quest. We are not going to be doing it in this Let's Play, because this is not 100%, even for a demo. But, you know, it's a free game. If you want to solve this puzzle, do it yourself. That's my advice.
Well, what order are you supposed to get them in?
They're in the order of various suits that appear on the floors of the castle that's at the end of the demo. So you actually can't open it yet.
Ah.
You basically have to come here after pretty much completing the story element of this game. And besides, it only really works after talking to a character who's in the castle anyway, so you wouldn't have much of a reason to come here until you'd gone there. So, usual technique, you warn the enemies about Susie so she doesn't accidentally kill them. I believe with normal enemies she will kill them fairly quickly if you don't warn them. But I can't be sure because I always just warn them first, so never was in danger of that. And Ralsei really can't do anything yet. Ralsei defends a lot in this playthrough. Pretty simple attacks here. I believe each of the enemies in Deltarune has 2 or 3 attacks, except for the bosses, of course, who have, you know, more like the even half dozen. Fairly typical pattern that was set up in Undertale. So, fortunately, as a result of us, you know, spending so much time on this, the enemies are now all tired. So Ralsei can pacify them. Oh, also, it turns out I was wrong. Ralsei cannot pacify them all at once. Just one at a time, just like sparing.
Yeah.
So it's tedious no matter what you do. I have to say, that's one thing that I think Toby Fox never really got a handle on, either in Undertale or in this. Despite the attempts to make battles interesting, random battles in Undertale are still a little bit tedious. And I think they happen just a bit too often.
Still more annoying if you're doing a genocide run.
Definitely. But, you know, you deserve the tedium if you've decided to go for that. Whereas this is tedium inflicted on innocence, literally. This is interesting. So yeah, this is the major puzzle of this place, is that you gotta avoid that white section. Because it'll send you right back to where you were before. Not too difficult, especially since there's a run button in this. Oh, this is weird. I don't like this. Pawn Man.
Pawn Man.
I have no idea what that's referring to. I guess they're pawns? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think like chess pawns.
But it's spelled all weird. And also, I never liked to think that pawns literally just had one giant eyeball. I always thought it was like a helmet, you know?
Yeah.
Like they had a real head under there. Though who can say it's chess? It makes no sense. So Ralsei sings a wonderful lullaby, and Susie falls asleep, which is great. Hard to say whether she liked the lullaby or whether it just bored her to death. So, one of those pawn men can be both spared or pacified. The other can be pacified, so that's what we're going for. 2 at once. Not too bad. But as is usual for enemies in this game, you really cannot outrun them. They will... they'll hit you no matter how hard you try to avoid them. I think there may be a few rooms in this game where you can outpace an enemy who's chasing you. But most of the time your only hope is to not have them notice you. So this great board, it's kind of like a bridge that leads to the main castle. Oh. Bloody, bloody, gross and blood.
Punched out all my blood.
He punched out all my blood! So yeah, Lancer's basically imprinted on Susie at this point, like a baby chick. Yeah! I disagree with Susie. Whatever. But yeah, the bucket is for the blood, obviously. You gotta have buckets of blood. It's boring when it's just puddles. This is a positive managerial relationship they've got going on.
Yes, indeed.
A lot of businesses could learn something from this. Oh, and there's no one to fight. He remembered the bucket, but he forgot the bad guys. An official name? No No official name. So yeah, we can use the bucket after all. We're gonna pick an awesome name.
I'm surprised that Susie is going along with this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Susie just wanted to, call us something obscene. But obviously we've got to go with what Lancer picked. Because he's Lancer. So yeah, we're gonna be called Lancer now? Lancer fights Lancer. No, that doesn't work.
No.
Awesome idea. I'm already part of the Lancer fan. So that is actually our hero team's official name now. We are called the Lancer Fan Club. And if you pick another team name when you play this game, all I can say is, you're incorrect.
Okay, then.
Anyway, here's a more complicated version of the earlier puzzle. Gotta be a little more careful here.
So what happens exactly when... Is it teleporting you back?
Yeah, it teleports you right back to the start of where you were. Essentially what you have to do is just progress one square at a time. Step 1 and then wait 2. This does not really provide for an easier way to get through. If you were quick, you could probably skip past this by, dumb luck, but it wouldn't be reliable, so not a sensible idea. This one I could have blown right past, But I'm being cautious. Don't want to waste any more time than I have to. Speaking of which...
Is that deliberate?
What?
The graphics glitch?
I didn't notice a glitch. So I'm going to go with no.
Okay, maybe
Since if it was... Toby Fox is so heavy-handed that if there was a deliberate thing in his game, I am sure I would have noticed it.
It could just be my copy of the video, then.
I don't know. Hard to say. I'm not the best video editor. That's understatement of the year, but So, Lullaby worked really well last time. I say we do it again. Apparently it makes all these enemies tired even if it doesn't put them to sleep, which is nice. That way, Chris can count on trying to have mercy on the most possible, while Ross can just pacify one at a time. However, Susie's also been hit a little bit, and so since I would need an extra turn to defeat them anyway, I decide to use Heal Prayer to heal Susie. There's, I think, a fairly deliberate thing in this game where Heal Prayer takes up a lot of TP, so if you choose to use it, you're going to have to be playing very aggressively, getting really close to the bullets, and also it'll keep you from pacifying enemies for a long time, because it'll completely deplete your TP.
Yeah.
Defending, however, I think also increases your TP, so that can help. When you have enemies that you can literally do nothing against, defending can sometimes be a proactive move. Which is nice, very few games actually do that. Defense is usually almost completely pointless.
I can think of games where defensive games were actually...
Oh, sure, but I mean like a standard RPG, something like Golden Sun, for instance.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Defense is like the option you choose only when you know your character can't do anything productive.
Yeah.
No, obviously, good games, well-designed games don't do that, but, run-of-the-mill games I think often do. Wow, so this guy's not even obeying the king, apparently. Unless he tells him to obey him. That's the kicker. It isn't the Lancer Fan Club. I also like how he doesn't even know if we're guys or girls. Honestly, with the exception of Susie, it's very difficult to tell. Oh. Oh no. Worst monster. Oh, but he got to the end of the row, and we all know what that means. If we've played checkers.
He's kinged.
King me, dog. Actually, he does look kind of like a dog. So I like how Lancer this whole time was wondering why we weren't scared. But Susie's like, it's just a stupid checker piece, but Lancer actually knows what it's doing, so... His surprise suddenly becomes... It suddenly makes sense. So Susie can beat up on this thing all day and it will really make no difference. This is a proper boss fight, and it has too much health for Susie to wear it down. Another thing is that it will heal itself, which we'll see in a little bit. So you have to find a way to deal with this that is not just allowing Susie to engage in mindless violence, as you might expect. Just sitting back and letting things happen is not normally the way to win the video games. But Ralsei figured it out. You know, if we bow to him and he bows back, the crown will fall off his head. Eventually. Apparently he has a very sticky head.
I'm a little disappointed that they tell you that.
So am I. Like, maybe if there was some kind of graphical thing to show it loosening up, that would be nicer. But, I don't know if I've said this before, this game is really easy. Maybe too easy. Seems like it was designed for 8-year-olds.
Yeah, it just... The Undertale I knew was a little more clever with its puzzles.
Yeah, I agree. I also like how this thing summoned an oddly realistic-looking bottle of milk, and that was how it healed itself. So we can either bow or do a deep bow. With a deep bow, the crown will loosen more than normally, as you might expect. I am not sure if the deep bow does more than 2 regular bows. It should, since either you or Ralsei can bow. Otherwise, it wouldn't make any difference at all. So the most important thing is just to keep everyone topped up, because this thing can actually do quite a bit of damage. Especially, I think, when its sprite actually hits your heart. The projectiles don't do that much. But this guy moves all over the place, so... That move is kind of fun. It's almost balletic, if that's a word. I think it is. So I'm just putting Ralsei on healing duty. He's got to heal up himself. The thing about this boss fight, in fact, a lot of the boss fights in this game, is because there's so many projectiles, there's such an opportunity to build up TP that you should be able to do a heal on almost every turn. There's very few occasions in this demo where you actually have to use a healing item. In fact, I'm not even sure I ever do inside a battle. I think the only times I ever use an item is outside a battle. And he just rolls away. He's so happy. He never stopped being happy through that whole thing.
True.
Hooray!
I like that it still calls you clowns, though.
Hooray, we saved his time. Oh. Ralsei, jeez, cool it. I mean, it's not like she's an active liability. She's never killed something. My axe!
Not my axe.
So yeah, Susie basically has the anti-Toby Fox attitude to this game. Which is, these things are obviously trying to kill us. Why should we scruple at killing them? But here's Ralsei's big pacifist speech. We're heroes, we ought to act like it. Oh. It's okay, Susie.
Wait, what?
Great, she's decided to change... Oh dear. Well, that works. I mean, honestly, she was messing things up anyway, so I think she's less of a liability to us as a villain than as a hero.
I mean, she was kind of introduced as a villain, so it's not that much.
No. This isn't a very unpredictable face heel turn. Yeah, monogram track jackets. That's evil. Lancer kind of talks like he's in high school, which is weird.
Okay, then.
Yeah,
you think?
Yeah, Ralsei, maybe you should just, keep your trap shut. Keep your almost invisible mouth closed.
I mean... I guess someone had to say it, but you probably could have been a little more tactful.
Yeah. Ralsei kind of lays it on thick, and you get the impression from the story that Ralsei's a little too naive for his or her own good. So... Ralsei just thinks, lay it out on the line, talk it out, and everything will be cool. No idea of, not offending people.
Yeah.
So, weirdly enough, we went out of a forest onto this bridge that seems like it was leading to the castle, and into another forest. I mean, it's not entirely weird for a forest to be out right outside a castle in video games. Like, Chrono Trigger had that. But still. In real life, I don't think a lot of castles were built in the middle of the frickin' forest. So I decided to go backward a bit here to see if anything had changed on the checkerboard. And this guy is left, oddly enough, Mr. Elegance. I don't know what he's doing. So something has changed, which is a little odd. Anyway. So that door we went through earlier, you may have noticed that even though this demo is fairly short, it does have a warp system, just to save you time. We saw an empty door frame earlier, and now that is filled with a warping door. Oh, and this guy, we have to breathe on him to spare him. And he calls us a refreshing boy.
Okay.
Little bit weird, but you know. I also like how tiny it is once you do that. Looking for a couch to get stuck under, so that makes it fairly clear that these guys are dust bunnies, which is why you can blow them away. Oh, it's the bad guys. They didn't get very far. Oh, you're all talk, Susie. You haven't bitten off a face yet. I don't believe you. The Dark Lancer fan club. They're like the polar opposite of us in every respect, except that they like Lancer. So their evil plan's not ready yet. We gotta cool it until they're finished. So, even though Susie's a little nastier, like, personally than Lancer, she is not any less ineffectual than him. And they actually never managed to come up with an evil plan. They spent most of their time screwing around.
That's most villains in Toby Fox games, admittedly.
Yeah, that's true. I think, honestly, that's kind of a problem with his games. That he doesn't give you a sense that his villains are accomplishing anything. Or, like, planning. Like, Asgore is probably the most threatening villain until you, like, meet him for real. Of all of the ones in the game, but he literally does nothing the whole game. When you first meet him, you haven't learned anything about him up to that point. Except that some people call him King Fluffy Buns. So, I mean, it just doesn't seem to mean anything, you know? His villains don't feel like real villains. So it's less interesting when you convert them. But anyway, I'm not here to bash Undertale, that's what all my other videos are for. So they're having a snack. That's in a tree trunk, obviously. That's where you want to eat snacks.
Ew.
Lancer, don't use the word orifice.
Not in the context of food.
Yeah. So you can make Ralsei try this, but I take risks myself. I'm a leader. So, you eat the salsa. It is just salsa, but it doesn't heal any HP. It heals something. Toby Fox won't tell you what.
Okay, then. Does he have hidden survival elements?
I have no idea. For all I know, this game could have, like, an RNG that affects or something. You know, these games have so much occluded stuff. I imagine this has a little less than Undertale, since it is just a demo, but... So here's more toy people. This is a Jack, and right next to him looks like a red rubber ball. Actually, this character seems somewhat similar to one that's from The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Have you ever played that game?
I don't think I have.
In the Dark World, where everyone has like a weird, twisted version of themselves, there's a person who's turned into a pink ball. And of course, your main character, I don't know if you've heard of this, Link turns into a bunny. Apparently that's a reflection of his true soul.
A rabbit?
Yeah, like a really cute white rabbit. It's bizarre.
Yes.
And you can't use your sword, which is why you need to find a special item to be able to keep your true form in the Dark World. That's what you get out of the third dungeon in that game.
Link does a lot of shape-shifting.
He does. I honestly think that's one of the more interesting, like, offbeat aspects of Zelda. And, you know, the kind of thing that they don't do anymore. The sweet little peas we'd love to see. How many names are you going to give us, Lancer? This is like the 5th one. Make up your mind. Anyway, so here is a version of this puzzle that we actually do have to solve. So you fill these all in, and then you switch them. It's a little more confusing when you get to the point where you can't put them all in to begin with. Some you'll have to, like, put in a few, swap them, put in another one, swap again. I'm still not entirely sure that I know the mechanics behind this. I think most of these I just kind of brute forced my way through.
Okay, then.
Yeah, it's a little hard to work out. Anyway, here's an enemy I did no good at escaping from.
Blocks, sir?
Yep. He's made of 3 blocks. And what you have to do here is you have to assemble him in a form that is actually appropriate, so that he'll, appreciate his life instead of thinking that he was made wrong. And that doesn't work at all. He doesn't want to have face abs. Who would, really, when you think about it?
I do like that we have Legos as his attack.
Yeah. He himself doesn't look much like Legos. I guess there are some Duplos that might look a little bit like that. But Duplos are for babies, and as we all know, Toby Fox games are for adults. So anyway, we managed to fix him. But he's still going to attack us, because it's a job.
Kind of a weird way to put it, but okay.
Gotta fix him. I decide I'm going to extend this for a little while in order to heal Chris. I wonder how close you could make those things resemble Legos before someone would consider suing over it.
Probably better not to take chances.
Yeah. So here's the other attack they have. Tetris. And in fact, it literally is Tetris, because a line will disappear when they all line up.
Yeah.
Did you ever see I Want to Be the Guy being played?
Only snippets of it.
There's a really nasty room in that where you have to dodge a bunch of Tetris blocks falling from the sky. And what can really throw you off is that one line will disappear when they all line up. So it can trap you in a hole that you weren't expecting to fall into. Oh, here's some interesting people here. So this is a logic puzzle. You have to talk to all 3 of these guys and use what they tell you. So that one said none of the symbols are clubs. This one says the symbols are all different, which is important to know. Also, that you can tell from the thing up above what color they were. So you can see it's red, black, red. And this one says the first symbol is a heart.
So heart. Okay.
So yeah, it's heart, spade, a heart. Oh no, they're all different. Sorry, heart, spade, diamond. You do need all the clues. So we have to put in a diamond. So I'll figure this out eventually. Don't do that.
You put in a diamond, switch it, put in a spade, put in a diamond.
That's right.
Which you'll get. You'll get it.
Thank you. Your confidence is most helpful.
Past you.
Past self, what's wrong with you? There we go. It's breakthrough. It's like one of those apes in the cage who use the stick to reach the banana. It's just so wonderful to see. Let's just go past. Oh, but we can't, because guess what? That was not 3 things, it was 1 thing. Actually, there was a clue to this earlier, because there was that enemy that we talked to before the salsa part. I don't know if you remember it. The text did scroll a little fast. Which was this other enemy wondering what to get this thing for its birthday.
Okay,
Seems like they all have different personalities, kind of like the 3-headed troll from Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah, I was thinking too. You snore.
Oh, lucky, you're not next to him. So let's talk about boys. Because I can totally relate to that. Basically, whenever you say talk about something, Rawl say we'll talk. Chris, obviously, is still a total mute. Okay, good, so it likes them. This technically counts as a boss, but it's such a simple encounter that I don't think of it as one.
Yeah.
It's just a unique enemy.
You can kind of cheese that one.
Well, thankfully, we've talked its ear off. All 6 of its ears off. So, we could just pacify it. We don't need to find out what would give it mercy. I think if you talk about all the subjects, it'll become pleased and allow you to be merciful. It's possible, but you don't need to, because you can just tire it out.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway, that is it for this episode. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Goodbye.